Hi, I'm Ryan,
I'm Cade.
and welcome to episode 3 of Tales of the Clips. Today is November 9th, and the Clippers took a loss yesterday to Tuesday to the San Antonio Spurs, and it definitely was not a good game for the Clips. Anything you'd like to add for the beginning overview?
I'm. It's the losses will come. I know it's been a bad stretch, but we're evening out from the good start.
Yes. Uh, so the score of the game was 107 to 20, so a 13-point loss. If you recall back from the last episode, if anyone tuned into that, I've predicted a close win for the Clippers, and that did not turn out to be very accurate.
Also, a callback from 2 episodes ago. I said Tyreek Evans would give the Clippers some problems. He dropped 20. That's just a tidbit of information.
Yes.
But yeah, this game we we held up decently early. We like, but we can't close games, which has been a problem all really for the last few seasons. We've been able to keep teams close, keep it in, but we can't just at the end just push away. Especially when we're playing good teams like the Warriors or the Spurs. For the past 2 years, we've been able to hold our own against the Warriors, even been up by 20, and we just can't figure out a way to close.
Yeah, I definitely think that if you just look at the score at first, you would think, how does a Spurs team without Kawhi Leonard get 120 points?
Yeah,
I mean,
the
I
Spurs in
don't know.
general scoring 120, that's just crazy to me. Especially against
Yeah.
a team that's been so far pretty good defensively, excluding the Warriors game. I I don't get it, and especially replacing a Gallo who's a decent defender with someone like West who's long and can play good defense. I'm shocked.
hmm
Blake definitely has to step up though. 4 for 13 from the field. I know he had 6 assists, which is getting everyone involved, but he's the leader of this team. Without a player like Gallo as well, he needs to take the scoring load. He can't just give everything to Wes or to Lou Williams or Austin. Austin had to carry the team. He was 10 for just 17. You can't have Austin be shooting 17 shots because we all know his shot selection isn't too good.
hmm
Austin also didn't get to the line, which is an issue. The team in general didn't really get to the free throw line.
Yeah, I
If
agree
you're
with
gonna
that.
have one of the grind out games, especially against the Spurs, where you can't play as much fast paced basketball, you're gonna need to get to the line to get those easy 2 points.
So the main thing that gets me mad about the defense is how there were only four players on the Spurs that had double-digit points. Those are LaMarcus Aldridge, Danny Green, Pau Gasol, and Rudy Gay. And three out of those four had over 20 points.
Okay, first of all, too, Pau Gasol at his age should not be dropping 19 points on DeAndre Jordan. That's unacceptable. You have a defensive monster in DeAndre and Pau Gasol who can't even move around the court. He's just basically limited to a spot up shooters dropping 19. Danny Green with 24. Danny Green's just a shooter for the most part. They did hold Patty Mills to 2 points though in 30 minutes. I'll give them that.
Yes. Patty Mills took 6 shots and only made one of them, and was over 3 from 3.
The worst thing is though too that the players half the time don't even look engaged on defense. They're not communicating. They're just giving up easy baskets. And you would expect with someone like Beverly with his intensity to get on players like that, like Chris Paul kind of did last year, but it's not happening.
I agree with that, and especially we'll see what happens. We're gonna go into this in more detail later, but with Patrick Beverly's sore knee, going to miss some time.
Yeah, and especially since he's getting sent back to LA, they're not going to have that player chirping at his players like Chris Paul has done to get it back on defense and just play hard. It it seems just like a culture thing. It's been going on for so long. they don't seem to talk. They're not engaged. They don't just seem to care.
Definitely. So
Okay,
I
so
think
do
we
you want
went
to
over
talk
the
about the
negatives.
yeah.
Let's go over a couple of positives that we saw from the team.
Wes Johnson had a good game shooting. He's since the preseason he's been willing to shoot a lot more shots than he has basically in his career. He's been a lot more efficient, pulling up for mid-range jump shots. It will helpful the team. It will help the team pretty a lot because he can, as you all know, he can defend. And if they can just have him shoot some jump shots, catch and shoot the occasional like 6 points a game, that would be pretty helpful. Stats look nice. Anything you see or you saw?
One thing that I know we're supposed to talk about the positives here,
Yeah.
but looking back at that, I saw a really glaring negative that I'm not sure if you brought up earlier, and it's that the bench didn't really play. They didn't get minutes. Lou Williams was the only player that got a significant amount of minutes off the bench.
Yeah, and especially before the season, we were all praising how good and deep this bench is. It could be one of the deepest benches they've had in a while, and Doc doesn't seem to play. He'll play like a decent amount of players. Like it'll be like a 10-man rotation or something, but they're not getting minutes. They're not staying in the game to stay in rhythm. If they just keep coming out of the game, they can't get in rhythm. But
yeah, if you look at the plus minus for the Clippers, most of the bench had a positive plus minus, which doesn't really mean much since they didn't get too many minutes.
yeah, they're
But
most likely playing in garbage time too.
yeah, but I think it's important to note that when they come in, it's not like the Clippers have a super weak bench.
Yeah, their bench is. If you look at it down the line, these are all quality rotation players. Doc's also he started to stagger a little more, which is making me happy. It's working, but they need to come in and just make an impact. Bryce is starting to scare me with his. I had pretty high expectations for him, but that's besides the fact. Do you want to talk about the injuries now?
Yes.
Okay.
So the first injury that I wanted to bring up was Patrick Beverly. I thought it was going to be a couple games at first when I heard that he had a sore right knee, but it sounds like he's going to miss about a week, and he actually came home to LA, so he will not be on the bench for the games on Friday and Saturday against the Thunder and Pelicans.
Hey, the guys, they're going to have to step up. Thunder and Pelicans? Thunder, that's going to be an issue. The Pelicans, Drew Holiday's nice too, but as I harped on earlier, they need that one guy just to help lead the defense, initiate it, for like the guards especially. It's going to be a huge load that's going to fall into Austin Rivers. But Austin, I've been reading too, Austin's injured as well. He's questionable for Oklahoma. The guards, this team, we've been praising how deep they are in the guard position, especially. They need to get rid of people. But these young guys are going to have to step up. Thornwell, Juwan Evans, maybe. They're going to have to step up and play against real players like Russell Westbrook on Friday, which is concerning.
Sorry, I'm just wondering where you're reading that Austin Rivers is questionable for the next game.
I saw that on the subreddit. I can go further into it. I'm not sure if it's true or not. I'll check right now.
Oh, sorry. I see it now. Austin Rivers is dealing with a mild ankle sprain.
Yeah, Brad Turner is normally a pretty good source.
Yes.
Austin though, he's a trooper. He's been playing through a lot of injuries, especially through his career, and he's been able to play well injured as well. He's always someone that I've liked just from his strength and toughness to play through injuries and just be always on the court. He's never really injured or not out there.
How do you think the absence of Danilo Gallinari has affected the team?
Gallo, Gallo's the type of guy that can score in all type of ways, and he's not really per se a specialist at one. So it's not really a huge gap they have to fill. It's multiple smaller gaps. And with the depth of the team, I think they can do that. Like Sam Decker, he can shoot the ball. Thornwell can drive and play good defense. I don't think it's as big as an issue as it is the bench just needs to step up. I think they can fill the role. But Gallo already this season, he hasn't been playing that well. He's been pretty inefficient and not really been able to finish around the basket, which is kind of concerning. He's missed a lot of layups. I just think it would be interesting, especially in the season, like early, maybe to give our young guys a go. I'm not too concerned about dropping games this early.
Definitely. The most important thing is that they build a foundation that will help them come playoff time, assuming that they get there, obviously.
Yeah, you just rather have his injuries, him be like hurt now, and then later in the season. Just hopefully it's not a reoccurring thing.
So, do you know how long Gallinari should be out?
I haven't seen anything.
I don't think there's been a specific timetable. I think that I would assume that he's gonna miss the game on Saturday. It's confirmed that he'll miss Friday against the Thunder. But I could see a possible return on Monday against the 76ers.
Yeah, that would be helpful, especially against the Pelicans too. They're gonna need someone to really score the ball, as Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins. DeMarcus is okay, but AD is a pretty good defender and might be able to limit Blake. So they're gonna need someone scoring besides Danilo, or besides Blake, and Austin's not gonna be able to really get to the basket as much as he likes to. It could cause an issue. Okay, do you want to go over the Thunder game?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was about to bring up.
Yeah. The Thunder. You can go.
Okay. So currently the Thunder are 4-6, and just to veer a little bit off the track, I think there's been a lot of issues with the referees against the Thunder. Russell Westbrook picked up that really questionable flagrant foul, and Carmelo Anthony got ejected.
Oh, the Melo one. I saw that play. I didn't even know what happened. I was so confused. That was weird. But yeah, definitely. They've been chirping a lot to the refs, and they've gotten a bad hand. But
I think that when Carmelo Anthony, I think it just looks like he went up for a layup. His hands had to come down at some point.
I didn't even know what was going on. That was just a really strange play. But I think we match up pretty well, honestly, against the Thunder. DeAndre can pretty much. He's a high quality rim protector. Russell Westbrook likes getting to the basket. We got perimeter defenders somewhat with Thornwell and Rivers. And Blake on Melo in the post. Melo's not really known to get that many rebounds, and so far this Clipper team, surprisingly, we've been near the top. I think we're top 6 at least in rebounding, which has been an issue for past few years, which is something we've cleaned up. Thunder aren't that great of a rebounding team, so hopefully we can do that. Limit the pace. That's something we're gonna have to do too. They're pretty scary in transition.
Against the Heat, I think that DeAndre Jordan, his back taps on the offensive glass, it was huge for the Clippers to be able to get the comeback in that game. And unfortunately, they lost. But DeAndre allowed them to make the partial comeback.
I didn't get to catch that much of the game. Did Whiteside play, or was he benched a different game?
Whiteside did play against the Clippers.
Because Whiteside's been having some like discipline issues, not playing that hard. But DeAndre's back taps they're huge. The offensive rebounding, it's definitely because they've been struggling to score. They don't have a ISO scorer like Chris last year, where Chris can just get you a bucket. Luke can kinda, but they need that. If they need to get the ball in the basket, they don't really.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stop there. I
I-
can't enunciate.
I think that honestly expected the big man to have more trouble against DeAndre. But it seems like the big men have been the biggest scorers for the opposing teams against the Clippers.
Yeah, Blake's not really known to be a great defender with his short arms, but DeAndre, that goes back to really them not really. It's not even DeAndre. They're so lackluster on defense, not really inspired to play. A lot of the guards are just letting them get points to the basket or just cuts the basket, and then DeAndre has to help, and they can just dump it off to the big man. It's
Looking at the Thunder's roster, do you think that they're they look
Yeah, on
like a
paper,
really
they're
strong
really
team on paper
strong.
to me? Just looking at
the thing that just concerns me is that their lack of depth. But
definitely,
there's a lot of holes.
definitely,
Yeah, they have a lot of holes in the
they have
team
a
too.
strong big three.
But I was listening to the Colin Cowherd podcast, I think, and he was talking about every time Russell Westbrook tried to distribute the ball and get the Thunder involved, they've lost. They've 0-6. So they don't have the stopper. If they can just stop him from getting to the paint and get into the mindset of him, I have to get my teammates the ball to score, and that's probably going to happen because of our lack of a defender to guard Paul George. They need to get the ball out of Westbrook's hands, and I think that's a key to winning.
Do you think putting Austin on Westbrook would be good?
Austin's known to be an aggressive defender, so I would think Austin on Westbrook would be a decent matchup because Austin, I mean, he just dogs people on defense sometimes, like super hustle, just gets there. I think that could work. We've in the past experimented with putting Westbrook on small forward, putting Austin on small forwards, and it seemed to not be that bad, but I think Austin could definitely work. Maybe if we have another player in, Thornwell could play decent defense. He could potentially be a good player to stop Westbrook. Maybe West will get some action on Westbrook. I'm not sure. The one that's really concerning me is Paul George.
Mm-hmm. I think I've said this against almost every team so far. The Thunder team, their offensive rating is 19, and their rank is 19 on offensive rating, and their rank on defensive rating is 2, which is similar to most teams that they play. A strong defensive team, and their offense
Are you
not being
speaking
as strong.
on the Thunder, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's strange to see because all the offensive weapons they have, but they don't. They really only have the three main stars that can really score the ball. Because Roberson's not scoring points. Adams is just dump it off to him. But they have some good defenders. They should provide trouble. But besides Patterson, really, they don't really have anyone that can stop Blake. So I think he's going to have a nice game if they want to get out the win. Slow the ball down, play at a nice slow pace, not like Westbrook in the fast break.
Yeah, I still think that Blake is. Yes, I still think that Blake
he's been
has
playing
been
well overall.
playing well.
I just think he needs to be a little more dominant. Like put his head down, score in the paint, less mid-range jumpers, maybe a little less threes, like Charles Barkley says. But he needs to just assert himself and get to the basket.
What is your prediction for the Clippers Thunder game? What is your prediction for
Clippers
the
Thunder.
Clippers Thunder game if you had to
Okay,
make
so
one
if
right now?
Austin, okay, we're assuming no one plays, none of the three players play. I would say we lose by like 5. If Austin doesn't play. If Austin plays, I say we win by like 3.
I agree with that. Most people don't think of Austin. I agree with that. Most people don't think of Austin as a huge impact player.
Yeah, in this
But
situation,
particularly in this game,
without Beverly,
I think
Austin.
that he will.
Austin's someone that I still don't understand why he gets so much hated on. I know he takes bad shots, but he's a really good defender. He's a strong defender. He can get to the basket. He's gonna be a key player this season in the playoffs. I don't know, but if he doesn't play, then they would have to probably maybe start Jawan or Jawan.
It's definitely not going to go too well for the Clippers. It's definitely not going to go too well for the Clippers.
So Beverly's
without
hurt.
Austin Rivers.
Austin Rivers is hurt. Maybe Lou would probably have to start, or Thornwell, because Lou at point guard or Jawan. They brought up the C.J. Williams from the D League though, so that should be interesting. I don't know. He seems like he basically does what Wesley Johnson does, but worse. So I don't know. I'd much rather have them bring up Jamil, who's a really nice 3-point shooter and can play some good perimeter defense. But I think he's injured. I'm not sure. According to
Basketball Reference, Jamil Wilson, he signed a 2-way contract with the Agua Caliente Clippers.
Just for 40 days. And then, speaking of the Agua Caliente Clippers, as a new team in the D League, they've been playing decently well. Tyrone Wallace, who was on the preseason roster, has been playing good. He might be someone that they should bring up for this stretch if Austin gets hurt, because he can play good defense and gets to the paint as a point guard. He's definitely someone that I can see on the roster in time. I just think they didn't sign the 2-way because there's more money to get in the D League and maybe sign a 10-day contract or something like that. But he's definitely someone to have good in your pocket stashed away. Is that everything?
I think that touches just about everything. Standings don't want to buy into that too much right now. The Clippers are 9th in them, though.
In the West, or?
Yes.
In the West. 9th in the West.
In the West.
Just let things play itself out. We're in the beginning of the season still. Don't get too worried if you're worried about the early losses. People are still getting settled in. It's early. A lot of teams struggle early. Stuff will even itself out. The magic will drop down, hopefully. But if that's everything you have to say, I don't.
One more thing. I think it is. One more thing. I think it is. It's good to see that the Clippers are only 3 games back from the Warriors.
They're just coasting. They're in coast mode right now. They haven't had to really step on the brakes and try so far this season.
Alright, so if that's everything, thank you so much. So if that's everything, thank you so much for listening. If you've been here for all 3 episodes, thanks so much for the support.
Oh wait. There's a let me pull this up. Some dude commented first. I want to give him a shout out. Let me find it. Let's see. Where is this kid? It's glitching. Okay, wait.
Oh yeah, did the comment not show
Yeah.
up for you?
No, I'm just
Oh yeah,
just
did
trying
the
to pull up,
comment
like
not
log in
show
because I
up
have
for
another
you?
YouTube account where I used to watch videos. Okay, let me find them. Okay.
Yes. The
Yeah.
Clippers are 3 games.
Shout out to
Yes,
Matthew
the Clippers are 3
Millette
games back.
for the first. I see you watching the videos. But thank you to you guys on Reddit too for getting the first episode over
Alright.
100 views. I'm pretty shocked that for a first episode we did that well. But thank you for all your listening. Do you have anything else to say?
Now, we should see you. We should see you with a new
Yeah.
episode on Tuesday.
See you guys.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I just ended it.